everyone. Thank you for watching. We have Shannon Darcy, and she's a singer songwriter from Essex who aims to bring a new and authentic vibe to the alternative scene. Her debut single, Snakes and Ladders, properly demonstrates Shannon's love for gritty rock sounds and captivating lyrical dynamics. Now, Shannon, pleased to meet you. And can you give us a little bit of a background of who Shannon Darcy is, where you grew up, what brought you into music, and what life is like for you now?
So, I've loved music ever since I was really little. I used to, um, me and my mum, when we were in the car, I used to choose the sort of CDs I'd put on in the car, and um, it would go from like Mika, Grace Kelly to like musical theatre, all these different genres. So I think that's where I, because I feel like I have a very broad range of love for music. Like I loved so many different genres. So I think that's where the love for music came from. Um, and obviously I was singing along with that. And the first time I sort of really realized I wanted to do singing properly like this is I was at a holiday camp and they had this big competition going on and I decided to enter because I enjoyed singing. It was a hobby at that point. And when I got on stage, I just realized I really loved it and it was something I really wanted to do. So I guess you could say that's where I came from, I suppose.
Yeah, basically that you showcase raw attitude and meaning because you want to enable listeners to feel a sense of empowerment and belonging. Now, is this basically a lot to do with women empowerment as well? That you want to get your music out there and let people know that our music and my singing and my lyrics mean something more than most of the male domination out there?
I mean, sure, you could definitely look at it that way. I mean, for me personally, I was very shy and awkward growing up. I didn't really speak about myself. I didn't really put myself out there. So I think music has helped me do that. So I like to look at it as that way, sort of like I'm here now. This is what I can do. So yeah, definitely, I would look at it as female empowerment as well.
Well, what about your family now? Are you the only one that's got a musical ability in your family, or do you have other family members have some sort of music capability?
I know that I think it was my great grandmother. She she I think she was a classical singer.
Mm.
Um, and she did like shows on stage doing classical singing. But apart from that, it's really just me who does all the music. I mean, my mum's a big support, but she doesn't sing or anything.
Mhm. So tell us about your how do you describe how you would compose a song, like the ability to write lyrics and to produce the accompanying instrumentals, like for instance your song Snakes and Ladders. How did that come to be?
So I don't play any instruments. I know a bit of piano, but I wouldn't say I'm a pianist. So I what I do is when I write a song, I come up with the lyrics, and as I'm writing the lyrics, I create a tune to go with them. Even if it's like for someone who plays an instrument, they probably think, "What is that?" when they hear it, because like all the keys are probably different and everything. But I come up with the tune, sing along to it. Once I've got the song, I'll sing like a basic version, and then when I go to the studio, I work on it with the producer there, and that's sort of how it comes to be.
But what about the first parts of the lyrics besides just the melody? Like like for instance, the first part of your song Snakes and Ladders. Like give us an idea of how did you come up with that first part of the song?
So when I wrote Snakes and Ladders, I was kind of feeling a bit fed up with the way people are sort of they act fake towards one another. Not just my personal experiences, but just in general, how the world can sometimes be very sort of everyone's out to get higher than each other. So then I started looking at it as a bit like it's almost like some people see life as a game. which is where the idea for snakes and ladders comes from. Obviously, like if you climb the ladder or you fall down on the snake. So that's kind of where that idea came from. And then I started playing with the different metaphors you could use. So like roll the dice, place your bets. How are you going to trust this person, or are you going to stay on your own and try and you know find your own way, sort of thing. I think that's sort of the basic story behind that.
I read somewhere that it mentions that that you not only do punk rock and dark pop, but your music always has a story to tell. Now, what would be a difficult time in your life that you felt like this is the song?
Ooh, tough question. I've had, well, I mean, like everyone, they've had like friendships and relationships that have kind of, you thought that you could rely on a person, and you know that sort of ideology hasn't really worked out. Um, so I've definitely, my song "Easier Said Than Done" actually is a great example. Um, that song's about how I so someone who I'm supposed to trust, um, obviously didn't come to be. So I sort of used that, and that song is very emotional in the way that it's very raw, and I speak from how I feel. And yeah, I think songs like that, they're more powerful because especially when you sing them in the studio or you sing them live, you can really feel what you're singing. So yeah, I've definitely had experiences where I've put them into my songs, songs that I've not released yet. They're songs written from personal meaning. I think I find easier to make.
Do you struggle to write a lyric or part of the song or melody and just gets you so frustrated that you just have to drop everything and just walk away for a bit just to gather your thoughts, and then you're like, oh, I got it, and then boom, and the song is
Yeah,
done. You ever had that
that,
moment?
I definitely have. I did have it with the song that I've got coming out soon, next week. I had the whole song planned out, but the bridge. So I'd come up with a tune, and I didn't have any lyrics to fill that particular bit. I had like sort of little phrases and stuff, but I couldn't fit it in. So I must have spent at least a couple hours just listening to this loop over and over again, trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to put these lyrics in? And it got to a point where I was like, right, I'm going to have a 10-15 minute break, sit outside, have a think, come back in and write it. And I did. And I came back in and I came up with it.
That's amazing. Do you find that bridges make the song, or do you find that, because I've heard some songs that don't actually have a bridge, and I'm like, yeah, I see why there's a bridge because it gives more of a color to it. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I think some songs might not necessarily need it, but I think a bridge does give something different because obviously without a bridge you just have like verse chorus verse chorus. So I think a bridge, like you said, adds color to it, adds a little bit of flavor. I don't know, just something different that gives the song a bit of oomph, I guess.
Do you think songs sound better and are better with bridges? Like, do you think, like, can you survive if someone said, "Write a song, but I don't want you to have a bridge," would that bother you? Or would you say, "Sure"?
I mean, it wouldn't bother me.
Hmm.
I'd probably, without the bridge, I would probably do something different in the chorus just to make it, stand out so it's not the same the whole way through. Because I think if you do if you do decide not to have a bridge, I think there has to be something that sets apart a part of the song from the rest of it, personally.
So, do you prefer working on a song on your own, or do you actually have songwriters with you? Have you taken any personal training to be able to come up with styles and the words and lyrics? And in the music, or do you do all that on your own?
I mean, I mostly do the writing on my own. I've always enjoyed sort of creative writing. Outside of songwriting, I like writing stories and stuff. So um, I do enjoy being able to sit back and um, write out a song. When I'm in the studio, I do have help from the producer. He helps me, like, sort of, if there's a line, he'll be like, "Why don't we try it this way?" sort of thing. And my singing teacher, she's helped me come up with a few lines when I've been a bit stuck, like, oh, I don't know sort of what to put here. I've got an idea, but I'm not sure how to fit it in. So I've got people who help me sort of work out some of the lyrics, but mostly it is just me.
So you're becoming really proficient in your writing and your styles. Can you tell me, what do you think about other music? Like, for instance, like the whole issue with Taylor Swift. Like, that's so many people who pay so much money just to see her in concert. It's ridiculous. I mean, I would never spend. One girl spent almost $10,000 on a ticket just to see Taylor Swift. I mean, that's ridiculous. Put that towards a college degree or something. What do you think of
Yeah.
that?
I do think, I think the bigger some of these artists are, I think obviously, like, you've got like the really super fans, so people are willing to go and pay so and so amount to go and see them. I personally wouldn't. I mean, the artists I tend to listen to and that I've gone to see, have been what, £50 a ticket, so it's not really. I don't think ticket prices should be that much, especially when you're already sort of, very, big. I don't understand why ticket prices are like you said, 10,000. It's pretty ridiculous, but each to their own, I suppose, if you want to pay that much to see an artist.
What's the largest amount of money you spent on a concert, and who was it?
Ooh. So I'm like a huge fan of Youngblood. So
Mm,
his ticket, I probably spent 60 quid for standing at the barrier of, the concert, and that was one of the, best experiences of my life. So
really?
yeah, so it was, 60 quid a train ticket up there probably brings it to about 75. It's pretty decent.
Like, what would be your go-to song? Like, if you were to pick a genre, what would be the song that you would listen to?
Ooh, see, I always really struggle with questions like these because, like I said, I've got such a range of, like, music that I love to listen to. I do enjoy the punk and alternative rock stuff a little bit more than I do other genres. But then again, I also do really love classical. Like, I love listening to it to wind down, and when I'm writing stories, I sometimes put on classical. Um, Go to song at the moment would probably be, which is going to go against everything I've just said because it's not punk or classical. But
Mhm.
at the moment, it would probably be. Have you heard that new Billie Eilish song that was in the Barbie movie?
Yeah, everyone likes that one. Everyone loves the movie.
I've not seen the movie yet. I really want to go see it, but the song that's played at the end that Billie Eilish sings, I'm obsessed with it. I think it's really, the lyrics are really clever. The sound is, there's not too much going on. It's just her raw vocals and sort of a melody, and I think it's really pretty. So I really like that song at the moment.
That I notice that you have such a not only a diverse, eclectic love for music, but I also see that you did a cover of "Piece by Piece" by Kelly Clarkson. Tell me, why did you choose that song to do a cover version for?
I think that song, it speaks to me very personally. So I can kind of, when I sing that song, I like to put my all into it. It's a song that if I'm gonna sing it, I'm not gonna sing it half-heartedly. I'm gonna sing it. So I do enjoy singing that song because I can feel what I'm singing. So yeah, that's why I chose that one. and yeah, I like I said, it just speaks to me, that song. I think it's a very powerful song.
And also, you mentioning earlier in the conversation, you like the Youngbloods. Now, you did a cover of "Sweet Heroine." Is
Yes.
that your favorite song?
It's well, it's not my favorite song of his. I've got many favorite songs of his that I enjoy. But that one I just thought was a really it's a really beautiful song to cover. I think, and I sang that a few days after I just got back from one of his concerts, and I wanted to give it a go. So I gave it a go.
Do you get some sort of like how do you feel when you tell people you're a singer songwriter? Do you get recognized in public? So you're
I've
Shannon. I've heard your song.
I've never been sort of outwardly, like, no one's come up to me in the street and been like, "Oh, you're Shannon." I've been to gigs with other musicians and they've said, "Oh, I've seen you online, like I know who you are." Um, I did have someone at work once. I was on front reception at work, and someone came in and she said, "Oh, you've just released a song, haven't you?" And I said, "Uh, yeah, yes, I have." Um, but it turns out she was a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. So yeah, I mean, I've had sort of little instance, but never had the sort of, "Oh, you're Shannon Darcy. Hi," be really cool, but it's not happened yet.
You seem to be pretty excited when you write a song and you finally release it. I can't believe I got a song, Spotify, 10, whatever.
Yeah.
That must make you feel really good. Um, what's the best part of being a songwriter?
I do love sort of the meeting people, especially because I mean we spoke about this before, about the community on Facebook band together and sort of things like that. You get to meet other people, meet other musicians, and stuff like that. And I do love also the aspect of songwriting that I get to explain how I feel in a creative way that I like. Um, because I've wanted to release my own songs for ages now, and I've really not last year, this the beginning of this year. Um, Obviously, I finally got to actually do that. So being able to finally put my music out there has been really, really cool.
What do you want your fans to take away with your songs?
I want them to feel so depending on the song, what you're listening to, but I want people to sort of be themselves, be who you want to be, screw what other people think. That's what Snakes and Ladders is about as well. Like, do your own thing. Don't let other people stop you from doing what you want to do. Don't let other people's opinions of you drag you down. Um, and yeah, just do what you want to do. Because I think that's really important because like I said, I used to be very shy. I didn't, sort of speak up, and I want people to be able to see that you don't have to be like that.
Yeah, your cover of Andra Day, "Rise Up." That's a great song, and you tackled that one very well. Do you go through your favorite singer-songwriters and musicians and point out ones that you want to do, like Piece by Piece, for instance, and you also have "Rise Up" by no, so it's "Rise Up" by Shannon Darcy, cover of Day's Andre. It's Audra Andra. It's Andra Day. Why did you
I'd say.
choose "Rise Up"?
Um, Again, I think the lyrics in that really speak to me personally, and it's an amazing song as well. I think it's very cleverly done. But I am sort of the person who will hear a song and will be like, I really like that. Let's give it a go. Do you know what I mean? Even if necessarily it's not the right song for me, like as in, because obviously I'm not going to be able to sing every song because some, keys I might not be able to hit, etc. But if I can sing the song and I enjoy singing the song, and especially if I can feel what I'm singing, like with that song and piece by piece, then yeah, I'll give it a go and I'll share it with everyone.
So, do you think that song? Rise Up, do you think that's an easy song to write, something like that? Like if you wrote that song, could you write something like that?
I wouldn't say necessarily easy. I think if I put my mind to writing, like put myself in the headspace of something like that, then I reckon I could write a song with a similar meaning. Um, Not sure what genre I would make it, but I'd probably play around with sort of ideas and stuff. But yeah, I reckon I could, give it a go.
Yeah, and Glimpse of Us by Joji. Now that's quite a song. That's a
That is
beautiful song, by the way. Also, you have another Youngblood song, Don't Feel Like Feeling Sad Today. And
I have
wow.
a story behind that one, if I may, or um, but I sang that at a just a little market in my hometown, um, and a few days later, I had a meet and greet ticket to go and meet Youngblood at a book
Mm.
signing. So I went there and obviously I met him, really nice guy. I showed him my cover of his song and he was really lovely about it. He said, "Oh, it's really nice to hear you covering my songs. I think you're gonna make it." And to hear that from someone that I like look up to, it was pretty incredible.
Do you think he was being real when he said that to you?
I think a lot of people say don't meet your heroes because a lot of sometimes a celebrity can seem a certain way in the public, but when you actually meet them, they're not what they seem to be. But I think with him, with Youngblood, he seems so down to earth, and you could tell that he knew his fans. I think I was in the queue. I'd never met him before, but you have people who have already, and a few people in front of me, um, she went up to him and he said, "Oh, hi, so and so. How you doing? How's your mum?" Like I think I do think he is a very down to earth guy. So I'd like to believe he was being genuine. Um, but yeah,
How do you feel when you meet someone as famous or well known as Youngblood? So, who's the most famous person besides Youngblood that you've met? And how did you feel? Did you have this googly kind of teenager type? Oh, I can't believe it! I'm standing here.
to be fair, I've not really met anyone else that's famous. I think the meeting Youngblood was a very I was very lucky, I think, to be able to get a ticket for that because it was a very sort of underground thing. I think there was only 150 odd tickets. So um, oh, I think I coped very well with meeting him. I don't think I went all googly eyed. I didn't go, "Oh my god, oh my god." I just did a very awkward "Hi, nice to meet you" sort of thing. And yeah, we did have a normal conversation. It wasn't like, "Oh, can I have this?" It wasn't all sort of you know getting all flushed and stuff. I was obviously very awkward. I can be an awkward person anyway. Um, but we took some photos, and he did have to hold the phone because I was a bit like that. But yeah, I wasn't very. I like to think I was okay. Don't think I embarrassed myself too much.
Yeah. Um, you were actually doing a video on your recipe for protecting your energy from toxic people using snakes and ladders. I guess you've literally met toxic people. Recipe, sort of like one of the ingredients, I guess. How do you deal with toxic people?
So I think because when you meet a person, you're not necessarily going to know that they are toxic straight away. I think sometimes you can tell because there's the sort of the fake. You can tell when someone's being fake. I mean, I think I can be pretty good at reading people. So a recipe. I don't know, just going back to the fake thing, are they do they seem genuine? Are they actually, asking questions? Are they actually paying attention to what you're saying?
Hmm.
Um, you know, I think so, obviously some people are very good at hiding, you know, that sort of toxic trait in personality, but I I don't know. It can be a difficult one when you are face to face with someone, especially when you're meeting them for the first time. I think it's easier to tell a person that you've known for a while when you start to realize, oh, they might not be who they say they are. Um, so yeah, meeting a new person, I think just looking out for, um, like I said, are they being genuine? Fake smile, stuff like that, I suppose.
And they just want something from you because they want to make themselves look good and they don't really care about you. But you also don't want to be around that person too long
No,
before you decide. You ever had that when someone says Shannon this and that, and you realize, wait a minute, you mean I'm the bad one here?
I mean, I definitely think, especially I've had, friendships going back to like school, like secondary school, high school.
Hmm.
Um, like I had a very close friend group, and then things happen, people change, people go off and get closer with other people. And there was definitely a time where our sort of little group of three became a group of four, and then the group split, and then those two people didn't get on with one of the other people, and then I was sort of stuck in the middle. So then I was sort of the bad guy because I wasn't choosing sides. It was very difficult to actually, um, you know, sort of try and play the not the mediator, but try and be friends with both. And I think that in that instance, you can definitely, sort of unintentionally end up picking sides, or doing something that it's a bit like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or stuff like that. So everyone has probably done that, and had sort of the incident where they are, um, or they might have been seen as not necessarily toxic, but people make people make mistakes, I think.
Are you very forgiving, Shannon?
I like to think I can be, depending on the situation. I am always willing to forgive if the person means what they are apologizing for.
Well, I'm thinking because if Youngblood say, hey, one of my fans is here, said, yeah, you're gonna make it in this industry. Um, do you feel that you have to dish out that to someone else as well? Someone who comes up to you and says, for instance, Shannon, I want to do what you do. I want to be a singer songwriter. Would you say, well, you'll make it in this industry? Because someone a long time ago, one of my favorite singers, said that I will make it in the industry. So I'm telling you the same thing. What would be your advice for them? Shannon, I want to be a singer songwriter. How do I get to do what you do? What's your first word of advice?
I would say work at it, do what you want to do. If you work hard, you will get results. Because I mean, from personal experience, obviously, I've been doing music ever since I was really little, and now it's starting to pay off in the fact that my songs um, are being put out. I'm getting people, genuine people, who want to listen to them, and that all comes down from grafting and hard work. And um, I think I would say to someone, just if you put in the work, you will get results, and don't let anyone else
Hmm.
sort of stop you from doing what you want to do, and you have the ability to make something of yourself.
Do you wish that Kelly Clarkson heard your song piece by piece?
Oh, that would be very cool if she did end up hearing it. That would be cool, I think.
So you literally walked up to Youngblood and you told him that you did a cover of a song and played it for him right in front of him?
Yeah,
And he gave
yeah.
you some good positive feedback, huh?
Yeah, he was very lovely. He's It's really annoying because he said something because it was him and his photographer who they're like close friends, and his photographer was releasing a book of photos of him. So that was what the whole book signing was for. And they were chatting, and they said that I reminded them of a singer that they knew, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it because I was so in like in shock that he was actually listening to me singing his song, and it really annoys me because I can't remember who it is now. Um, but he did say, "Oh, you've got a sick voice, or you sound like," and it's annoying because I can't remember, but he liked it, so that's the cool thing, I guess.
Well, you do realize, Shannon, that mostly there's a lot of artists out there that do cover songs, and their version is a lot better than the original. I've heard some pretty good cover songs from artists who did cover songs of other artists who did cover songs of other artists, and it sounds a lot better and it's a better version. Like for
Yeah.
instance, your version of Rise Up by Andre Day, I bet you if you played that in front of her, it could go two ways. One is that, oh, I don't like it when people play my songs. I don't like it. There's a lot of artists out there who actually covet their songs. They don't want anybody to cover it because they're afraid that people will gravitate towards the cover song and not towards their version. So there's always a possibility, but you never know. Someone might eventually cover your song, Snakes and Ladders. How would that make you feel if a famous artist said, I'm going to cover your song tonight? What would your attitude be like?
I would love that. I would say go ahead, go for it. I'd like to see what they do with it, whether it be a famous artist or just someone who wants to give it a go. I'm happy for them to do that. I think it would be really cool.
Does gut instinct play into your decision making when it comes to writing songs? Like, if it does, how do you know when to trust your gut and when to second guess it?
So I've got a really good example of that actually. So easier said than done. Obviously, I spoke about it being a very powerful song. It's quite angry. It's a lot of emotions. And the original tune for that wasn't a rock song at all. It was actually it was a ballad, like a sort of angry ballad. And I in the studio, I was like, oh, I really like this is the direction I want to go in. It was still the same tune as it was now, but it was just there was no sort of electric guitar. It was all sort of piano and um I was listening to the song. I came out of the studio. I was on the way home in the car with my mum, and we put it on, sort of what we'd just done, and it was the final version of that song. And I was listening to it, and I had a moment. I was like, I don't think this is it. I don't think I particularly want to put that out yet. And my mum was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I love it, but it's not the song. It's not. I it's not speaking to me. So we went back then in the next session, and we added a bit of a um different twist to it, and now it is what it is. I mean, I've still got the other version, and I'm probably gonna put it out there at some point. Um, but I didn't want that version to be easier said than done as it is now. I didn't want people to know it for that song because it wasn't I didn't feel it in my gut to put it out there. I think I know when I'm happy with a song. I just get a feeling, and the same feeling I got with Snakes and Ladders, I didn't get with that first version of Easier Said Than Done.
So you always run your songs by someone that you trust?
I mean, ask I mean, my mum's like my biggest like support. She's like my rock, and um, I also ask her for opinions on things I put out, and because she'll be honest, because she's my mum. But what she necessarily says about a song, if I think differently, I think no, I think I'm happy with that, and she'd be like, yeah, okay. Like she would never sort of um, push me to do a version of a song that I didn't want to do. She's like, if you're happy with it, you put it out there. So she likes both versions of the song. She prefers the rock version, like the version of Easier Said Than Done that is out. Um, but yeah, she's also very much like go with your gut, go with what you think is going to be best for the song, you know.
Have you ever figured out your vocal range?
See, I'm so bad with like all the technical stuff. I have no
Mm.
idea what I even like am in terms of vocal ability. I surprised myself the other day. I did a cover of a very small. It wasn't a whole song. It was a cover of "Vampire" by Olivia Rodrigo. And I've sort of the top high notes in that song. I've never really been able to do that key before. So I thought I'd give the song a go, and I surprised myself by actually just hitting those notes. So honestly, I couldn't tell you what
Mm.
my range is.
Do you have any funny or interesting stories about your experience as a songwriter that you can share with us?
Mm. Um, I do remember, not necessarily like really funny, just sort of the experience of writing songs with or putting tunes together with my singing teacher. I remember we did a song. I wrote the lyrics to a song once. This was years ago, and I asked her to help put music to it because at that point I think I was only 14, 13 or 14, and no, I was 14, and I was sort of very new to the whole songwriting thing in terms of putting music to it. I'd written stuff, but I'd never actually tried to make it a thing. Um, and I remember we sat at her house in her living room, must have been for about 3 hours, just playing with different sounds and different ideas. And it wasn't like necessarily a funny story, but it was a lot of fun to just mess around and play with different ideas. And obviously, we had a good friend of hers, who's a guitarist. He was there as well, and he was sort of messing around on the guitar. And yeah, I love sort of like little jam sessions like that where you just get to chill out and have fun.
Yeah, you have to have fun, and whether you're writing a song or writing the melodies or singing a song, do you have any pre-show rituals when you go out and perform?
Um, I will sing. I will probably sing the song through. If it's a big song that I'm going to need all my power for, I don't sing it to its full potential, but I do warm up to make sure that I am able to hit those notes because I don't want to go out on stage and or in the studio and try and bust out a note and my voice just completely go nope. So yeah, I do. I will sing through the song. Um, and yeah, or if I'm on the way to a gig, we have sort of like a mini concert in the car. I'll just like put my playlist on shuffle and sing full blast to the songs that are on. That is definitely, come to think of it, a pre-show ritual actually. Um, but yeah, those are the sorts of things I do.
Do you have so like uh, kind of feeling when you hear your own song being played?
I sometimes I'm very like if because I sometimes can be. I think it's a good and a bad thing. I could be a bit of a perfectionist. So if I'm singing like a live version of a song on stage or whatever, and I know that as I've sang it, I've done something that I'm not particularly happy with, I do get a bit like, oh no, don't play that. Like, listen to it somewhere else. um, but my own songs, I am quite proud of. If I'm with my mates, I like messing around and be like, put my song on if we're in the car. Um, but yeah, I think it goes both ways. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, don't play that or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
When you're at a karaoke and you're gonna sing like Youngblood song or whatever you like, maybe you want to sing a someone else's songs, but does it make you feel any different singing at a karaoke than it does when you're singing in front of your fans?
Not really. I think I both singing on stage professionally and karaoke, I both find very fun. So I mean, obviously with singing on stage, I've rehearsed for, so um, there's probably a different dynamic there. But I look at karaoke as a bit of fun, um, especially if I go with my friends, I'll get them to come up with me, we sing together, and it's probably a lot more laid back as opposed to singing on stage professionally, I suppose.
How do you know when a song is finished? How did you know that your song "Snakes and Ladders" was actually completed? How did you know when you wrote that last line of a lyric, that was it? I'm done. The song's over.
I I don't know. This is a really hard question for me because I feel like I can just know when a song is finished. Like, um, if it's not finished, I will I will sort of be like, no, there's something else that needs to be added. Um, and I will probably sing the tune in my head that I've come up with or whatever. And I will it will be back to that gut instinct. I will just know that either something else needs to be added or no, I'm happy with this. I think it's good to go. Um, but yeah, I think I do find that question very, very difficult to answer because there isn't sort of a process or anything. It's sort of a gut instinct, really.
Yeah, as we were talking before. So it is a gut instinct. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when the song is posted, or the song is out there, and then suddenly you say, "Oh, I got a perfect. Oh, I wish I'd put that line in there instead, or whatever." Do you ever get that moment?
Um, Not necessarily like I have in the studio, like as we're doing it, I've said, "Oh, I should have gone back and done that," and then we go back and do it. But I've never sort of like actually put something out and been like, "Oh, I could have done that a bit better," because I'd probably do that about 100 times in the studio anyway. And then yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be um room, I guess, to add bits, make them different. I mean, that's the beauty of covering a song as well. Like how I covered Rise Up, for example. Um, I sang it in some aspects different to how the original artist sang it. So if someone were to cover Snakes and Ladders, I'm sure they would add something different that I would say, oh, that would have been cool to add, sort of thing.
If you had a chance to collaborate, and you can't say Youngbloods, you have to give me another choice to collaborate with another artist. Who would that be? And it
I
can't be Youngbloods. Mhm.
okay. I would love to. I feel like it's really cliche because she's such a big artist, but I would love to sing with Billie Eilish because I feel like when I'm not, when I sort of sing very like softly, and away from all the rock stuff, I feel like um, I would love to see how our voices would like mix together because she's an incredible singer. So I feel like I'd really love to see sort of what I could come up with, or we could come up with together. I think that would be really, really cool, actually.
Are there some songs that you've heard that you wish you had written?
Ooh. I do like a lot of Queen songs. I do love Queen. A lot of their songs, like "Somebody to Love," is an absolute banger. It's one of my go-to gigging songs. Um, so that would be cool to have written, actually. I think.
Find me somebody to love, find me. But yeah. So do you have it? So what do you have coming up? Do you have any more projects coming up? Are you still writing?
So I've got my new song "Freak Show" that's coming out on the 11th of August, so next Friday, which I'm really, really excited for. Um, and I've got a few gigs coming up in the summer, and then a an awards ceremony, the National Entertainment Awards. So it's like I won the South of Essex Southeast Entertainment Awards back in I think it was March or April. So now I'm going to the November one to sort of like defend the title with the national awards. So that's going to be pretty exciting. That's in November, and I'm working on a few bits behind the scenes with my music as well. So there's like little bits going on. Um, so lots of stuff to sort of look forward to, I guess.
Yeah, well, we all like listening to your music. Do you ever venture out of your comfort zone and write in a genre that's new to you?
I would love to give sort of a a different genre go. I'd love to write a rap in a song, like because I love listening to rap and I love singing along to rap, but I've never actually tried to rap on my own. So I feel like maybe adding some rap somewhere would be really really cool. I don't think people would expect it either. So um, yeah, I would love to do that. I think it would be really cool actually.
How do you deal with writer's block when you just can't get that final word out, that final lyric? How do you deal with it?
Um, I I find I hate writer's block because it's so like you said, you have that one word that you need or like that you want to fit into a verse or something and you can't think of it and it's so frustrating because you've got everything else. It's just this one word that's just you can't get out. But I will take a break. I think is the best because if you keep trying to push it, you're just going to get annoyed and it's nothing's going to come out of that. So um I've done it before where I've stepped away and had to come back to it later, because if I'm not feeling it at that moment and I don't want to rush into it and put something that I'm not necessarily going to be happy with.
So this song list you mentioned about you play in the car. What's your first song and what's your last song? What do you have an opener and do you have a closer?
Ooh. I mean, I usually just really shuffle my playlist. I mean, I've got like songs that I especially like if I hear a song and I love it, I will play that song multiple times. I'm the sort of person that's like, if we're gonna listen to this song, we're gonna listen to this song and we're gonna sing along to it. It's gonna be really fun. And yeah, I don't know though. Probably trying to think of songs that are like really fun to blast in the car. I'll tell you what is a laugh though. Bohemian Rhapsody is really fun when there's like a group of you in the car and you put it on full blast, especially when you get to the opera bit. It's just such a laugh.
Oh yeah, I can imagine how much fun that is. So what is the one message you would like to give to your fans?
um, I'm gonna go back to sort of echo what I said before about be yourself, don't let other people define you. Um, and if you want to do something, if you want to you know pursue something, other people are like, oh, I don't think that's going to work out. Do what you want to do. Don't let their ideology stop you from being who you are. I think
Yeah, I
it's
totally agree with that. Like, don't let the music industry or anybody tell you that you can't be this way, you can't sing this. Sing what you feel. If it makes you happy, then sing it. Bohemian Rhapsody singing by yourself makes you happy.
yeah.
Then, so like you're listening to that song, you like Bohemian and said, is this real life or is this just fantasy? I mean, it does have a good ring to it, but if you say, well, this could be fantasy, but I think it's real life, it doesn't have the same sort of meaning if you switch it, you know?
No,
But that's a great
exactly.
song to sing in a car, and you're both singing, Bishkamba, do not let you go. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine how much fun that is, you
it
know?
is. It is a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
I think it would be the probably the judgment around different like sorts of music, because I feel like everyone has a genre they love. Um, I don't necessarily think I don't think it's appropriate to say there's a bad genre of music because some people might like it. Just means you have a different taste to someone else. So I think I would change the way people perceive different types of music because I mean a genre I don't really like, someone else might absolutely love. It doesn't mean that it's a bad piece of music because I don't like it. So I would definitely change that perception of things.
What do you think of artificial intelligence in the music industry?
Mm.
It's getting to the point where you can literally, like, I heard an Amy Winehouse song that sounded like her music and sounded like her voice, but it wasn't actually her because it was
Yeah,
written by an AI after she passed away.
yeah, it is. It's. I find it really strange. Like I can't wrap my head around it. Like there's, I keep seeing like I saw something similar to that. I saw Michael Jackson singing a completely like different song, but by AI, and I think it's really, I think it's um interesting how it's, that is actually a thing. Like, but at the same time, it's kind of like if there's AIs doing all the singing, where is sort of the raw music and raw vocals, like real vocals, that I worry that it's going to get overshadowed by AI stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the main contention with the SAG and the AFTRA Hollywood strike. The actors and the actresses are on strike, the writers strike because of the body scanning to be able to, body scan yourself and they can use your image in a
yeah, that's
movie.
crazy. That's absolutely
And the actual actress or the actor is just sitting at home while their image is being used, and they don't get paid for that. That's
yeah.
like AI is just crazy. It's just getting out of hand to the point
It's
where
mental.
you don't even know if you're going to be going to watch Aerosmith or you're going to watch any of those other bands, realizing that that's not really Steve Tyler. That's somebody else
Just
with
yeah,
a AI face. Because then you find out Steven Tyler says, "Oh, I wasn't actually singing at the concert. I was visiting, whatever." It's dangerous.
yeah. It's crazy. It's, I wouldn't have ever really imagined that that would actually be a thing, but it is. Oh,
What do you think of? Um, Sorry, but I have an alarm that as a rooster.
that's
Um,
right.
how do you feel about auto tune? Do you think it should be used?
I I think I know a lot of people say, like, give autotune this negative sort of thing, but I think it can be used very cleverly actually. I think it can be added to give positive effect to a song. I think too much of it, if you use it in the wrong way, can make, a song sound not the way, you'd want it to sound. But I think the right amount of auto tune in the right context and the right sound, I think it can work really easily.
Well, it could, but then there's issues where, for instance, they say that Britney Spears uses auto tune and all this stuff. But I, I heard. Are you familiar with the old '60s bands Jefferson Airplane? They have that song "White Rabbit" sung by Grace Slick.
I recognise the name. I'd probably know the song if I heard it.
Um, well, it's called White Rabbit, but what they did is they isolated her vocals, so they removed the music, and all you hear is just her singing, no auto tune, raw. It's her real voice. And music was great before they came up with all this software and auto tune, whatever, to change it. Like for instance, I don't think someone like Bob Dylan would fare today because you know how he sounds, yeah, and
Yeah,
I know other singers who absolutely sound terrible, and autotune could change. And then there are others out there you think are autotune, and they're not. But now
yeah,
that you have AI, you can take AI and change the voice. So you can literally have someone out there that doesn't even know how to sing that sounds terrible, and they could be making millions just with their voice. Because you got a musician out there who just
yeah,
wants to make a living with their music, and you have this AI and people just love it? I mean, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
That is unfair in that sense. If you compare to someone like a small time artist who works hard to try and get their music out there, compared to like an AI computer, it does seem. It's so crazy though that that is actually a thing now. Sometimes I can't actually wrap my head around the fact that there is AI that can make someone who's dead actually sound like they've just sang a live version of a new song. I think it's crazy.
There's a Beatles tune that just came out, and people thought it was just one of their old Beatles tunes taken out of the vault. But Paul McCartney admitted that it was a AI because they used John Lennon's voice in the song, and he said, "No, it's not a Beatles tune from one of our vaults. An actual auto. It's like an AI that did that." So, okay, so one more question before we end the stream. Where do you find yourself a year from now?
I hope to have, a few more songs out, and I hope that a year from now, um, yeah, I think it's tough because you never know what the future does hold. But I like to think I'm still, doing my songs. I've got a couple more out. I am working on hopefully something more than just a single. So I hope by then that is sort of either in the works or it's actually out. Um, but yeah, that's simple, but that's kind of what I hope for in a year's time.
Well, in the words of Young Blood, I think you're gonna make it if you just keep pushing yourself and yeah, I think the music industry is changing because it's this artificial intelligence. It's too bad because how long can the Rolling Stones perform? I mean, like Mick Jagger just turned 80,
Yeah,
and so how long can they do it? And then what? You think he's going to embrace? You think he's going to embrace AI and say, "Well, I don't want to sing anymore, so I'll just take an AI to take over." I mean, that's ridiculous.
yeah. No, I couldn't imagine doing that if I was in that situation. I think because if you add AI to it, it kind of just I don't know. It doesn't seem real
Yeah.
because it's not real, but it takes away the realness in the music.
Well, Shannon, we're very happy that you were on our podcast. Thank you for guesting with us today and joining us. One word of give us some advice. Oh, edit. Okay, Shannon, thank you very much for being on our podcast today. Can you give us words of advice for up and comers? And hopefully our audience will take something away from with that.
Um, I think I'd like to say that if you are an artist who is starting out, then keep doing what you're doing. Don't take the fun element out of it, but have fun whilst also putting in the work. Work hard on your graft. Believe in what you're actually doing. Don't do it for other people. Do it to make yourself happy if that's what you believe that you want to do.
Excellent. No truer words have ever been spoken. Shannon Darcy, everyone. And if
Thank
you
you.
look down below in description, you'll see Snakes and Ladders, original music, easier said than done. We'll link Rise Up, her Andra Day cover. And thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you being. You're very welcome. And everyone, listen to her song "Snakes and Ladders." Very good piece of music, and we look forward to hearing more music from you in the future.
Thank you.
Let's play a game. Snakes and ladders. Play a game. Snakes and ladders. Roll the dice. Place your bets. Make a guess on what your future should be. It's the definition of chaos. A perfect anarchy. Everything's a mess. Just roll the dice and place your bets.